Hey everybody, Kelly here. So, I just barely started to open my recent Yeah Scrapbag from one of their D-stashes, and I just barely started to open it, and I thought, you know what? I think I want to show everybody the types of things that you can sometimes get in the scrap bags. So, some of them maybe are not as great. There's a lot of scraps, scrappy, just strips, etc. But some of them are pretty good, and usually the guys are pretty, like they'll tell you that this is probably a box full of 1-inch strips. Maybe not that much, or get that small with the scraps, but they'll usually tell you when they're pretty good, and you're probably going to get half yards, eighth of a yard, fourth of a yard, eighth of a yard, versus getting 2.5-inch strips. And they're not really 2.5-inch. They're just like the strip, just the end cut. So you'll kind of see some of that here in this bag, I'm sure. But just from the very first things that I took out of this particular one, I think there's some pretty good scraps in this one. So I thought I'd show it. So when I open this bag, this whole little pile right here kind of comes out like a bundle. So it's the first thing that I pulled out, and I thought, ooh, I want to show this because this is going to be a pretty nice one. So what do we got here? So the salvage on this one, it's Primitive Gatherings, Rustic Gatherings. So this is from Lisa Bonjean's newest line here. And so I think there's like 4 or 5 prints here that are all from her same line. So it's going to be matchy-matchy. And I think this particular piece right here, let's see, off camera, I'm thinking 12 inches by width of fabric. So that's almost 1/3 of a yard right there. And then, so next prints in the same line, so very gonna blend right in. This one's probably like 18 inches, so a 1/2 yard cut right there. So right there, I've already got the start of some blocks that are gonna make a pretty decent sized block. So now this is a little bit more typical of the scraps. It's probably 5 or 6 inches wide and by width of fabric, and not straight. It's the widest part might be 6 inches, but it's probably actually 5. So, but it's enough to do some smaller pieces in a block that's gonna be really pretty. So, and then we've got the gray, and it's probably 9 or 10 inches wide. So that's gonna be a nice one to go with the block. And then we have the same pattern in a different colorway. Again, 8 inches or so by width of fabric. And then very much like the beginning one, but it has the orange in it instead. And so just very nice and scrappy. This is probably a 1/2 yard cut right here. So a couple 1/2 yard cuts, a couple fat 8s, and 8 inches, 6 inches, something like that. So basically, and actually let me turn this one around. So right here, just right out of the bag, the first thing I pulled out of the bag, and still have quite a bit of the bag left to go. And we could do something like, well, let me could do something like that maybe. you know, just, I could really easily, I forget how much I decided this was. I think it's 2.5 yards altogether. So, not going to make a 3-yard quilt, but add a couple other colors in with this. And, you know, and who knows, finish going through the rest of this scrap bag, I might find some more from the same line. And if not, I may have some stuff that, even though it wasn't by Lisa Bonjean, it might match, and I can come up with a pretty nice quilt. So, you know, for getting a little bit of a bargain from a scrap bag, it's gonna make some pretty nice blocks. So, and I don't know, I just love these colors too, so that's probably part of it. So I'm kind of looking in this bag and thinking there might be a couple of pieces that are not my style that I won't use, but honestly I've got a friend that likes to sew too, so there's every chance that she might like them. So, and if there's only a few that I don't like, it was still a really good bargain price. So alright, I'm going to set this aside. Let me pull out something else here. Grab another handful. Oh, and right off the bat, I can kind of tell you I'm going to be able to pull some stuff out of this that's going to blend well enough with the first stack. So this particular one right here, let's see if I can see a salvage. Yep, this is a Sherry and Chelsea. Emma, I think it is. Yeah. So that's going to blend. I mean, it's not great, but it will blend in well. And obviously the flowers in this particular print are different than the flowers in this, but I could kind of set it there and possibly figure out some way that I might be able to incorporate that in a block in such a way that it actually looks like it was meant to. And this as well. So this is actually Songbook by Stephanie Slowinski for Moda. Some of them are upside down, but they're kind of all every direction. But this is the day that the Lord has made. So this is a really pretty piece right here. I love this. This would, I got some, yeah, this would make some really nice, it'd be a nice border too. But anyhow, so that actually is probably even more the color that I'd be looking for to go with this particular fabrics right here. And I think it'll go with the flower print here too. So that's awesome. Alright, so what else we got? So some batiks here. You can always throw batiks in with cottons as well, but I think I will set these aside. In fact, I'm going to push these aside. So I got some batiks, some pretty good size. Again, with the fabric by, I don't know, 14 inches maybe, something like that. And then this is probably more what you can expect at different times. So hopefully you don't get too much of this in the scrap bags, but don't be disappointed if this is what you get sometimes. But I tolerate a few of these kind of strips to be able to get this kind of strip for a decent price. So, and I can get some good, 2.5 inch squares, or, just have a couple of smaller strips in and make a block out of that. It's fine. And then let's see, so we got another batik here. So yeah, again, another kind of a strippy piece here. And if I didn't have any other batiks out of this bag, or if I don't have any others in my stash, I can either set it aside and wait till I do, or and potentially just come up with something where I just use it to make a single little small wall hanging. So let me go ahead and fold this up and get it out of the way here. Alright, and then this print right here, let's see. So it's not a batik, it's a cotton, or at least it feels like it, so let's go with that. And let me see, it actually kind of feels in between. You know what, it might be a batik. Yeah, it does kind of feel in between. And I don't have a selvage to read off of. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put that with this too. So maybe I do have a little bit extra to make a nice block from. So let's go ahead and put that in there. That could be pretty. Alright, let's grab another handful. Okay, so we got another batik, blue. And I actually have some blues and greens, so I may just put these with those. So this one right here, probably 12 inches, so a third of a yard right there. So that's pretty good size for Scrappy. So I'm going to go ahead and just fold that back up and put it with my other pieces. And the green as well. Let's see how, yep, again, this is really just more of a strip. So, and actually, I haven't ever really seen this happen, but you never know. I mean, things get cut funny and trimmed. It really is just kind of coming off the end. And so you can, it actually is on both sides, so you can see something probably stabbed the bolt, and yeah. But I can get some pretty good pieces out of that, so that's okay. Alright, so it looks like we've got some dot fabric here. I bet this is Primitive Gatherings as well. Nope, actually it's Emma by Sherry and Chelsea, so that actually goes with this line right here, the peachy flower there. So, and I was actually thinking that it was part of this line, but it's part of the peachy line, which I already think goes with this line, so I'm going to put it all together. And it is really just one strip, but I'll set it together and see if there's something that I come up with to, you know, like if I come up with a block pattern that maybe needs a little center square out of these dots. And then that'll be kind of neat. So there you go, right there. That blends pretty well. Alright, so in that same collection would be this green one as well. And I may go ahead and put this with the gray one just to see if there's any chance that I might want to make whatever block I come up with for all of these have a little bit of a pop of green. And if I don't, I'll just set that aside somewhere else. Put it with some other items. Alright, so this particular fabric here I don't recognize, so let me see if I can find a salvage. But again, this is actually at least a half yard right here, so that's pretty good. Riley Blake, okay, Hope and Bloom. So this is actually, I think I just ordered a jelly roll of this because it's to support cancer research, but it doesn't actually have the little ribbons in it. It's just to, yeah, I can't think what I want to try to say here. So I think the designer supports cancer research with the proceeds from her fabrics. And so in this particular case, though, she designed something without actually putting the ribbon in the fabric itself, but it is here on the selvage. So it's a really pretty line. And so I think I got a jelly roll of it because it was so pretty. And so I will set this aside to use with that when it comes. Awesome. Okay, grabbing another handful. And let's see what we got. So, boy, I can't think of this designer off the top of my head. Starlight, Starbright, first star I see tonight. Okay, let's see if the salvage says anything else besides that. I don't think so. So, I don't really know. I would say, see if this salvage says anything. Nope. Okay, I would say, so this is just a strip again, but I would kind of say that these two might be from the same fabric line. So maybe like Ruby Star Society or something like that. I don't know. Let's see if I can find a salvage on another piece that's seeming like it goes with that line. Nope. But I would have to guess that that might be as well. Let's see. I'm kind of thinking maybe. And see what we got here. So Moda, Sweetwater. I don't think this is Sweetwater, but I could be wrong. And it kind of looks okay together, so hey, why not? So I'll just set those in a pile together. And then what do we got here? Salvage. So again, you know, about 6 inches. So this is pretty standard for the scrap bags to get something more along this size. Occasionally some smaller ones, and occasionally up to 1/2 yards. So, but this is actually probably more like what you're going to get. So, let's see, this one here, this is also Sweetwater, so I really am thinking maybe all of this is, although I don't know, I don't think those, anyhow. Alright, so chicken feet, let's see. Chicken feet, just from Moda. Let's see if the other one has a. So chicken feet in blue. We have a salvage with a name. Nope, but it's Birdsong. So I don't have anything else that was from that collection, but let's see what I can do with it. There might be some more in the bag, you never know. And honestly, I have so much farm-related fabric around here. I'll probably find something to put it in. Use it for a binding on a hot pad. Something like that. So, alright. Grabbing at least one more handful. A couple handfuls still in there, so alright, I'm gonna need to scooch some things aside. Okay, so what do we got here? Let's see. Let me try to open this one up and see if there's anything on a salvage here. Nope. Okay, I have no idea. I don't know if that would be a sherry and I don't think so. Maybe it's okay. So this is going to be the Sweetwater again. So maybe it was the Sweetwater. You know what? Actually, let's look. What do you think? That be okay? I don't know if it is or not, but I think it's what I'm going to do. Although again, don't know that all of this is actually Well, the fishies are, because I saw that. Yeah. But I don't know that all of this is right here. So when I get through with this bag, I may just divide it right here and make this more in a modern pile. Okay. So again, sometimes you get these ones, and that's okay. Well, this is not lovely right here, but to get the occasional one like this, when I've got a couple of half yards and almost a full yard one, that seems okay. And when I've got so many of them that are from the same line. So I will throw this in with the Sweetwater one as well, just in case I need a couple little scraps. And when I get done with that, if I didn't need it, it really just goes into a really scrap crumb quilt. This one I'll set aside for like a Christmas hot pad, something like that. So just fold it up and set it over here. And alright, so let's grab the last of it here. Alright. What do we think? Is this going to be Emma? Maybe. Yep. It is. Alright, so now is when we come to a point where I don't know. Do I go ahead and put all of this into the same pile? Because now we're starting to get, that's a little too different from this stuff here. So, I don't know. When I go to do, so like if, well, here's another piece. So here's another piece of this same one. So put that in there. So yes, I probably will put this on this stack for now, and when it comes time to actually do something out of this bundle, I will focus probably on this end right here and add these in possibly as blenders. And it will probably only be the gray one, because I think the gray really goes nicely with the little dots in these two fabrics here. But I don't necessarily like the green or the peach in this particular block here. This would be really pretty just to do like a 2-color hot pad or something like that. So, alright, let me shove that off to the side again. And so, again, got some strips. Don't know what this was from, but I'll just kind of set it aside, and I can make some little 2.5-inch squares or something out of that. I have a whole stack of 2.5-inch squares to do something super scrappy one day. And same with this, just a small strip, but you know, nothing else. You try to do a hot pad out of a 2-color hot pad out of that, and you've got a little binding right here. So actually, I might just set that with that. Cool. All right. Same with this. Just a little strip. And so, what do we have here? I feel like I recognize this one, but not sure. Putting a song in your heart. I bet this was part of Bird Song, but we'll see. Don't see anything. Nope. So, you know, a couple 2-3-inch strips here. It's not bad. And in fact, if I needed another blender with this pile over here, I might try it, but I probably don't, so I'll set it off to the side. Alright, I think I have this one somewhere else, so I'm going to put some more with it, and then I'll have a good amount for when I go to use that. Alright, so this one, actually, this is a Sherry and Chelsea. So I bet this goes with Emma line as well. Or the Emma line, not Emma line. So that would go with that. But again, this one doesn't necessarily go with this one as well as I would maybe put that with that. So I don't know. I might actually consider it more with the Sweetwater than I would with the other there. So let's see. So I may just put that with that. Okay, and here we go. A little bit more to add to my little stash of possibly being a hot pad one of these days. And in fact, get a few more of these, you start actually getting real blocks and not necessarily just a hot pad. You do a portion of a wall quilt or something like that. Or you can actually buy some of these fabrics because I really like this little strip right here. And I think, okay, I need to get their line and make a quilt. So, and you didn't have to spend all the money to buy that fabric and then realize that maybe you didn't love it after all. And I would say this is also, yep, this is also to go with that. So let's go ahead and pull all these off. I'm going to go ahead and leave the gray on with this bundle for right now. But I'm going to go ahead and pull these off because I'm starting to get enough here from this collection that I can actually make its own pile. So actually I'm going to stick it over to the side here. Alright, so camping. Awesome. That's a pretty one. I bet that I have plenty of things on my shelf that this can go with. So it's about probably 13 inches. So about a third of a yard right there. So if you have, I think I've got some panels that show like Yosemite, and you know what, I should turn it right side up for you guys, that show like the national parks and have different images on them, smaller images, so you could easily cut this out to frame the images. And that would be kind of pretty. Or you can just use it on the back and just use some other plain brown fabric and put this in the center strip and yeah, have something kind of neat that way. Alright, let me fold that back up and put it out of the way. And actually, I wonder if that was maybe from, well, this says black in it, not green, so probably not. And tiny little strip. But, you know, like I said, you get some sometimes, so that's not a big deal. And let's see, so we got a kind of rusty color that matches the kind of gray color there, but it's just enough to maybe do a little bit of something with. And is it me, or does that kind of go? And there's not enough salvage to tell what collection it's actually from, but I'm thinking it's from this Songbird collection that is this right here. So go ahead and put this with that. Put the polka dots back there. And looks like we got some Ruby Star Society, some strips. So that'll be really pretty. In fact, I can kind of see maybe I will put all of this into a pile to do something with. Sounds good. And what have we got here? So that's really pretty. Good sewing theme. Fabrics and supplies. Doesn't say the designer, but especially if I do cross stitch, so if you do cross stitch, that's a really pretty fabric. And actually, I have a bundle over here that I might put this with, because I'm betting that it actually is the same collection. And we got the blue, couple blue strips for that. And it is just a strip, but that's okay. And a little bit more Ruby Star Society probably. Let me see if I can see. Nope, doesn't show. But I bet that's what all that is there. And this is probably a good size cut, about 8 inches, something like that. So 8 inches. And some Michael Miller. I already have a lot of Michael Miller, but I will go ahead and put this with it. So that's awesome. Fairy Frost. Alright, and a nice white. And it's probably about half a yard. And maybe not, 16 inches, something like that. So, and it might be kind of a thin one. But anyhow. Okay. Alright, so that's a scrap bag. So it is kind of lots of scraps, but it's pretty nice. I'm going to be able to do couple different nice projects with it. So let me kind of turn you around and show you everything, since I cleaned up my table a little bit here. So everybody hold on a second. Okay, so this was everything that was in my bundle. So a couple really nice different things in there. So I think the center portion right here is the one that I like the most. And just a little bit of variety off to the edges. Like I said, I got the Michael Miller down here. I'm going to be able to add that to the rest of my stuff by that designer, or by the company. And also, when I saw this fabric right here, guess what I just got the other day in one of the D-Stash bundles. So I'm actually going to be able to put together this 3-yard quilt, and I can have a little bit of accents from these other colors right here. So that's kind of nice. So I'll put all that together, and then, like I said, I will bundle up the rest of these about like how they are. I might add this to another little bundle that I have that's very similar. This will actually just go in my crumb quilting. This will probably go into a farm bundle, and this will wait for that jelly roll that I've got. So this one worked out pretty good. Now, they don't all work out this good. I'm just going to tell you that. But some of them can be pretty nice for not too much money. So, all right. Awesome. Well, now I can't wait to share some of the projects that I come up with. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Okay, just thought I'd come back on for a minute and say, guess what I just found or remembered in my stash? I didn't find it. I remembered it from the other day. 3-yard cut that I got on the D-Stash that is also from Sweetwater Fabrics for this same collection. So I'm going to work on trying to figure out what block I want to do using these fabrics. I might actually find a couple other fabrics that blend really well with it, and then work on the block design. And I might use some of this to go in the blocks on the front of the quilt, and then be able to use the rest of it for the backing. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's a 3-yard cut. So I should be able to trim just a little bit out of it and still have a pretty good size quilt. But like I said, I will try to find some other fabrics to put in with this and see how it looks. So I don't know if this will be one of my next projects or not. Probably not, and it'll probably wait a while because I really like this Primitive Gatherings one over here too. And I'm really kind of drawn toward that right now because of fall and how pretty it is, even though that's not all. So like this part right here is the Primitive Gatherings, and these are Sherry and Chelsea and Songbook. But I just really like this little set right here. Alright, well thanks for watching.